The campaign's co-op, though, if you want it to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that they put a lot of emphasis on that, right?
Yeah. So that would be cool, but I don't have any friends that play it. So, yeah.
Well,
anyways,
that one took a really sad turn.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nerds You're Looking For podcast, a weekly nerd culture podcast that discusses the culture through various segments. My name is Patrick Kuhn, alongside my co-host, as always, that Tyler Hunt. How's it going, man?
It's going really well. Just sitting here enjoying some coffee that your wife
coffee?
Just brewed for me. It's
yeah, because you
delicious.
wouldn't stop complaining like a little bitch that you didn't have any coffee.
What gas station runs out of coffee?
I don't know, man, but when we offered it to you the first time, you should have just said yes.
No, it's going good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm pretty excited for Halloween tonight. We're recording this on Saturday afternoon, so as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to finish making my costume, and then I'm going to go to a sweet Halloween party. Well, before the Halloween party, I'm going to scare the shit out of some trick-or-treaters. I'm looking forward to that as well.
And with your costume?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Are you going to like shoot them with your little gun?
No,
I'm sorry, guys. It's not a real gun. It's a play gun, like a Nerf gun.
It's like a Nerf crossbow because I'm one of the intruders from You're Next, which is an awesome horror film.
Yeah.
I'm the sheep. If you've seen the movie, obviously you know that each of the intruders, I don't know if they actually have a term in the movie, but that's just what I've been calling them. There's a wolf, a sheep, and a tiger. I think the other guy is a tiger. And so I picked the sheep just because I wanted to play with the crossbow. And my wife is the wolf. So we got her a little, like a Jason, like it literally says on the handle, property of Crystal Lake on it.
Oh, wow.
Cause it's a Jason, play machete.
Mixing genres.
A little bit. Well, I mean, not really genres, just movies, franchises, really.
Not genres at all. That's a bad term.
You notice how I just agreed with you immediately because I don't really listen to what you say. I was like, yeah, genres, yeah, definitely. But no, it's definitely the same genre.
Cool.
But yeah, are you doing anything for Halloween?
Yeah, we're going to do something. We haven't nailed down exactly what. I'm sure drinking will be involved in some capacity, and definitely looking forward to trick-or-treaters coming by. Last year we got quite a few, and Brittany worked, and that was our first Halloween in the house we're in. So I had to kind of do the whole Halloween thing by myself. So it's cool.
That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it's cool this year that we get to do it together. The problem is this will be our first Halloween with Ivy. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about that.
Yeah, she's going to go ape shit when trick-or-treaters come up. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I'm also dressing up, and you're not going to approve of my costume at all. But it was a last minute thing, and it's super easy. So I'm going to be Clark Kent for Halloween.
That's super, super lame.
It's really easy though. And
it's super lame.
And I have everything that I need for it. So
yeah, it's lame.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. I thought I had to work today.
Oh, really?
And then I found out 2 days ago that I was going to have today off, and I worked a different day during the week. So I didn't want to go really wrestle around like a knick-knackery or something. And it was too late I just said knick-knackery, and nobody knows what that is. They don't live in Evansville. I didn't want to go to like a costume shop and with a large crowd, and it was too late to order stuff online. So, Brittany is going as Tina Belcher though from Bob's Burgers, and her costume's pretty awesome actually.
Oh, really?
It looks a lot like it.
You'll have to take a picture of that.
She wanted me to be one of the characters from Bob's Burgers, but I just couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know.
I just got done giving you a hard time for being Clark Kent. Last year, I had a similar situation happen to me. I was working that night because it was on a Friday night. I was working my 11 to 7 shift, so I didn't think I was going to be by the time I got home and got ready and everything, I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but it turns out I was able to leave early. And so I kind of had to throw something together really quick. And it's not really embarrassing, but it's slightly embarrassing. I have all the materials to be Mike Ditka. Oh, yeah. And so I just shaved my beard and just went with the mustache for a couple of months afterwards. And, I was just Mike Ditka for Halloween last year. So it's probably just as equally as lame, but, that was all I could think of, that I had everything together to be. But this year I really wanted to go all out because I knew I was going to be off because it was going to be a Saturday. My wife asked off as well. So we were, planning on to really go all out. And my buddy Mike from the Obsessive Viewer has a Halloween party every year, and he's more hardcore about Halloween than I am. So it's always really cool to go there and hang out with them because they go all out. And so I kind of wanted to up my Halloween game a little bit this year because last year I was just a lame Mike Dicka, and Chrissy didn't even go with me because this was literally like the most last minute you could plan a Halloween costume. So she didn't even go with me last year. So we were looking forward to it. At least I was looking forward to it. She only agreed on our Halloween costumes just because it was just an easy like mask thing that she could wear all night, and she didn't really have to do a whole lot to actually dress up. She's kind of a bummer on Halloween, but at least she's going with me, and it'll be fun.
Oh yeah, and that's a good medium too.
Yeah,
cool costumes, but they're not too crazy involved or anything. So
yeah,
that's the way to go with it.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna be watching Trick or Treat tonight. I've been planning my entire Shocktober, which we'll get into later, around me watching that on Halloween while we're passing out candy and while I'm trying to scare the shit out of trick-or-treaters. I'll be watching Trick or Treat. So I'm looking forward to that.
Last year, I watched Saw while I had trick-or-treaters. Cool. And I felt kind of bad about it because the way the door to my house is positioned is you can kind of see the TV a little bit whenever you come up. So some kids probably saw some shit they shouldn't have seen. Yeah. But that's a good idea. I think I might do Trick or Treat tonight.
Yeah, I have a similar story, and I know we're kind of getting off rails a little bit, and I might talk about it here in a little bit when we talk about a Shocktober review, but I had a similar experience happen to me the other day at work. I was watching, because my job is kind of hectic at the first part of my shift, but after all that kind of calms down, it's just me basically. I'm a glorified babysitter for the security staff. And so I just prop up my phone and watch movies sometimes. And so I was watching it on the Shudder app, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. I was watching American Werewolf in London. I hadn't seen that movie in a long time, really since I was a kid, and it scared the shit out of me. And I really have never watched it since. And I was watching it, and I don't remember there being so much nudity in that movie. And my desk is positioned where the truck driver's checking in can't see what I'm doing, but the guard that's there can see what I'm doing. Yeah. And so it was a little, there's this like really awkward sexual shower scene in that movie that I don't remember seeing, and why my parents let me watch this movie when I was young. I don't know why, but we've got into that in past episodes. But, it was super awkward. I'm glad he was like doing stuff while I was watching that particular scene. Cause if he looked over, he might have just thought that I was watching porn. So that was kind of awkward, but, that movie's really good. I know you've talked about it in the past, and I forgot how good it was just because it scared the shit out of me as a little kid. So.
Oh yeah. That movie's great. I haven't watched it yet. I think I might watch it this afternoon.
Cool.
We'll get into that probably a little bit though when we get into our Shocktober recap.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the episode. If this is your first episode, we start off each episode by talking about what we're into. We just like checking in with each other because we don't get to have these nerdy conversations as much as we used to. So Tyler, what are you into this week?
So I know that you said you had a couple things you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I have a couple things. Do you want to go back and forth, or do you want me to just do both of mine?
Yeah, we can go back and forth. Yeah, that'll be fine. It'll break up me talking.
I know. Well, we never done that before, and it just kind of clicked to something we could try.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, okay. So this first thing I want to talk about was a pretty big conversation piece earlier this week. It was The Walking Dead, the most recent episode. And don't worry, not going to. Well, we'll see. We'll see if it comes up, but I'm going to try.
I think we should. Honestly, okay. I think I can make special. I'm going to be editing this week. I don't mind making special show notes, timestamps.
Okay.
So go to our website, thenerdspodcast.com to check out those timestamps. So let's just go ahead and I'll just make a special notation in the show notes. Just skip ahead if you don't want to be spoiled, because I feel like we should have the conversation.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to sound like a huge hypocrite, but we will be spoiling who dies in The Walking Dead. So I didn't so much want to talk about the episode off the bat. We will talk about it though. I wanted to talk about how it was spoiled for me on Facebook.
Okay.
I was super pissed.
Yep.
So I'm going to say exactly what the status said that I saw that means that you guys, again, just another warning.
Yeah.
It will be spoiled for you who dies. But I got onto Facebook. I can't remember what my wife and I were watching, but basically we don't have cable. There's no need for me to have it. I usually watch stuff the next day and buy it off of Apple or find other means of watching it. And so
legally, of course.
Yeah, of course, legally. And so I usually have to wait a day to watch The Walking Dead or whatever. And it's never a big deal. And I should have known better, but I got onto Facebook for whatever reason. It's just like a habit. You pull
like
out your phone.
Nervous tick or whatever. Yeah.
You pull out your phone and just get on it. The first fucking thing I see is, guys, we lost Glenn. And I was pissed because this wasn't even a friend of mine. This is some dumbass I went to high school with that I just happened to add as a friend. It's like,
you deleted him, right?
Yes. And it's like, well, who does that? And then I saw other statuses regarding it, like hinting that a major lit character was lost, but everybody else was pretty well behaved and didn't say who was exactly killed. But even the aspect of going into an episode knowing that something huge happened, I just wanted to get your kind of opinion on it. So I know that whenever I see something and I love it, I immediately want to talk about it, and I immediately want to like post something about it, to whether it's to our page or to my page or whatever. But what are your thoughts on spoiler, I guess, procedure?
It's tough because me personally, there's certain shows that I won't watch immediately, like Gotham, for example. I'm a couple episodes behind, so if somebody were to post something today about an episode a couple of weeks ago, I feel like that's free game.
Yeah.
And for The Walking Dead, mostly, I think their fans have been pretty good. I mean, it's almost like an unwritten rule. You give it at least 24 hours.
Well, I remember, was it last year or the year before, the actual Walking Dead Facebook page posted something, and
then they had to like apologize later for it.
They caught a lot of shit for it.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal. I know Matt from The Obsessive Viewer had a whole rant about it on one of their episodes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like as a person, you should just know. Like I'm not as hardcore about it. I mean, I try to be as vague as possible on this podcast, just because I don't know how crazy people are about watching things when they first come out. But for me personally, if I'm a couple episodes behind on Gotham, let's just say Gotham, because I use it as an example, and you post something about an episode that happened a couple of weeks ago, then that's on me.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not rushing out to see it.
Oh, for sure.
But a show like The Walking Dead that people die so quickly or so abruptly and so frequently on that show, I feel like you should have at least 24 to 48 hours to watch it. Because I've actually had something similar happen to me. It was Walking Dead related. I think it was last season. It wasn't when Herschel died. It was, I don't remember who died, but it wasn't Herschel, obviously, because Herschel's been dead for a while. But, a truck driver came in, and it was a guy that came in frequently, and we talked about The Walking Dead before. And I was just it was Monday afternoon, and I was planning on watching it that night because we watched the Emmys or the Golden Globes or something happen that same night, and we watched that instead. And he came in, he was like, "Oh man, what do you think about this guy?" And I was like, "God damn it, man." But I mean, I was kind of irritated at the time, but I think I had already known something big was because of people's vague statuses. I knew something big was going to happen, so I wasn't that disappointed. And the episode itself, I think it was Tyrese.
Yeah, I think Tyrese died last year.
Yeah, I think that's who it was now that I'm remembering it. And so I don't know. I feel like you should just give it at least a couple of days because people don't nowadays with DVR and cord cutting and stuff like that. People don't watch it when it airs.
And there's a lot of stuff to watch on Sunday nights too.
For sure.
And I guess
we're big football fans, so we're usually if I have somebody going Sunday night, I don't watch Walking Dead when it airs.
And that's typically what I'm watching on Sunday nights too. And it's just, I don't know. It's different because Walking Dead is like that show that everybody watches now. So everybody wants to post something about it or whatever. And it's cool that a show like that has such a big appeal, but God, some people are just dumbasses and ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, I mean, do you want to get into the actual episode now?
Yeah, we can go ahead. I posted something a couple of days ago about it.
I just want to talk a little bit about spoiler procedure and what your opinion
I feel like just to kind of boil it down, I feel like you should wait at least a couple of days.
There was one thing that kind of pissed me off that somebody posted. So there's this girl I'm friends with on Facebook. It's one of my wife's friends, and she's kind of a nerd. and she's into comics or whatever, I guess a little bit. And a couple days later, she posted like something along the lines of, guys, he died in the comics. It's not that big of a deal. Like kind of being like that comic hipster, like, oh, I know what happens in the comics. Like, yeah, I fucking know he dies in the comics too. I know how he dies in the comics, and it's a lot cooler than the way they fucking do it. And
okay, so there's kind of been a back and forth on the internet and various articles and whatnot. So you think he died?
No, I don't.
No, you don't? You don't think he died?
I don't think he died.
Okay, well, just the way you were talking, it sounded like you...
Well, I mean, we're supposed to be under the impression he died, but when it boils down to it, there's no fucking way he's dead.
Oh, like, really? I think he's done.
I don't think they would do it that way. You got this guy. We've known this character. The only character we've known longer than him is Rick.
Yeah.
And if he's going to die eventually, he dies in the comics. It's whatever. But I know how he dies in the comics, and I'm not caught up on the comics, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like pretty monumental, right?
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
It involves Negan, correct?
Yep.
And I mean, they've been rumored to be casting Negan now, and I'm sure he'll show up at the end of this season or next season. And
well, it would have to be next season. They haven't cast it, and they've already filmed.
Well, they take that hiatus, so I think they're filming the second half now.
Oh, really? I thought they filmed it all at the same time.
I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but I thought that they took a bit of a hiatus because the show takes a hiatus.
Okay.
But, I don't know. Anyways, so he'll show up, and that could have ramifications for Glenn, obviously, and instead you just do it the way you do it, where he falls off a dumpster and gets eaten by zombies.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's pretty obvious that whenever he's grimacing and the insides are being ripped out, we don't see whose it is explicitly because it's Nick's. Is that his name?
Yeah.
It's Nick's. And I don't know how Glenn gets out of that situation.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing is, I mean, how are you going to get out of that situation? Even I was talking to somebody at work, and they said, well, you can see like the shot, you can see like the dumpster's a little bit off the ground. Yeah. I guess where they have to, the forks go underneath the dumpster to pull it up and put it in the truck. So I guess he could crawl under the dumpster, but I mean, how is that any different than them being on top of the dumpster? I guess it gives you a little bit better cover because the zombies could get on the...
Yeah, unless there's like something where he can get out the fence underneath there.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of a cool...
But there's zombies on the other side of the fence, so it's like...
Oh, I mean, I was going to say that'd be like a cool homage to Rick being stuck under the tank in the pilot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess somebody could come and save him, but nobody knows he's there. So why would somebody fight through all those zombies to save him when they don't even know he's there? It would be kind of cool, now that I think about it, if Rick did come back and kind of pay him back for the whole tank thing. But Rick doesn't know he's there, and Rick's kind of in his own shit right now. Yeah, so
no shit.
So I don't think that they could. I think they shot it in a way that they wanted to have this conversation. They wanted people to have this conversation, but I don't think that he survived. I don't see how he could have, because any bite or while it doesn't infect you, but it'll kill you. And it just doesn't seem like he could hide under a person like that and not get bit by one of those hundreds.
Something would literally have to happen as soon as we pull away from that scene.
Yeah.
Like, so we'd have to go in the next episode or a future episode right to that moment in time and somebody helping him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way he would last that long. So
yeah.
I did read like an interview with an executive producer or something. And of course they asked if he's really dead, and he gave some bullshit line like, the Glenn we know is dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes it seem like he's coming back, but then again, maybe he's feeding into wanting us to have this conversation.
Yeah, and I read a similar article with, they were interviewing, Greg Nicotero, and he was just like, well, you have to believe what your eyes see. And, that's also, it's equally as vague, because they shot it in a way. He's basically saying, well, if you think he's dead, then he's dead. But if you don't think he's dead, then he's not dead. Like, I believe what your eyes see. Well, some people saw that he could have gotten away, and some people saw that he got eaten. So it's like, they're definitely crafting their answers in the vaguest way possible, so they can, either way, they'll still be right.
Yeah, I don't know. A few people I've talked to have not liked the character as much as they used to over the last few seasons. I really still do like Glenn.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's not the way he goes out. I've been kind of bracing myself for his death.
For sure.
And I'm going to be bummed out if that really is the way he goes. Yeah. Because it's really just kind of, all of a sudden, it's abrupt, and it's really abrupt into a character that we've spent 6 years getting to know. I guess that's like how the zombie apocalypse is, though. But you just think they'd make a bigger deal about one of the original cast members biting it.
Plus, I feel like the show does, with certain characters, they like to build them up and to kind of break them down.
Yeah.
And then build them back up again. And so I think they've done that a few times with Maggie. And I think that this would be another way to kind of create character development and create drama.
Yeah.
I mean, she's lost enough people already, but I feel like this is a good way to kind of break that character down again.
Didn't they hint in the first episode of the season that she might be pregnant?
I must have missed that.
I barely missed it too, and somebody else brought it up, but there was a brief exchange between her and Glenn that made it kind of allude to the fact that she's pregnant.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but we've already kind of seen that. I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, we're still seeing that.
That baby has not grown at all.
No, and it's weird because they don't really like deal with it. It's just like it's almost like a nuisance, like only when the show wants to bring her up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the time frame for this show is really hard to follow. So how long has it been since?
Who knows?
And I think we might have had this conversation before. I don't know how long that we've been following this group. Obviously it's been 6 or 7 years for us, but it hasn't been 6 or 7 years for them. So do you know how much time has passed in the comics? Do they ever?
I'm a couple volumes behind, so
okay.
I would have no idea.
Anyways, I mean, what do you think of this season so far? I like it.
I think it's good so far.
Okay. Cool.
I'm still waiting for those 3 episodes in the middle of the season that are really boring and just that are just placeholders for the last few episodes. So that's always been my problem with the show, is that they can't
100%.
consistently keep the momentum, because they do season finales and season premieres in the first few episodes of the season really well. I think in pretty much all the seasons, they just can't carry that momentum through the whole season.
Yeah.
And I mean, television shows in general tend to have that problem. So it's not just The Walking Dead, but that's my main problem with it.
Yeah. And I agree with that. All right. So we went on for Walking Dead for a while there. So, what are you into?
First thing that I'm going to talk about is, CD, which is something that we don't normally talk about because Tyler and I, typically don't have the same taste in music, but the new Coheed and Cambria CD came out Friday the 19th. And so I've been listening to that pretty much nonstop. I've really fallen behind on my podcast because that's all I've listened to in the car. And really when I am listening to stuff at work, that's all I've been listening to. It's really great. I was kind of nervous going into the CD because it's the first CD that they've done as a band that hasn't been part of their Amory Wars overall story. I mean, they're a concept band. Coheed and Cambria are characters in the story. And so this is the first time in like 15, 20 years, however long they've been together, that they haven't done this story. And so I was a little bit nervous, but I mean, they haven't really let me down as a band. They're my favorite band. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that on the podcast before, but they're my favorite band of all time. They haven't really let me down, so I don't know why I was as nervous as I was. I mean, Year of the Black Rainbow was not great, but for the most part, all their albums have been really great. So,
how many albums did they put out?
Well, there was 2 of the Afterman. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. No.
Sorry to put you out there like that.
I think this is it's either their 7th or 8th.
Cool.
Yeah. So I was a little bit nervous, but I actually heard a couple of songs, actually 3 of their songs, before the release. They released, a music video, like a lyrical music video for a couple of the songs, and then they released them early on iTunes. So I had actually heard 3 of their songs beforehand, and they were all great. And the CD itself is really great. It's wonderful. It's a little bit more poppy than their past albums, which I think will turn away some hardcore fans.
Yeah.
But I really like them. Like, you got Spirit Kid is probably the worst example of it being really poppy. That was the first single that they released, before the CD was actually dropped. And I really like it. The Audience is really one of the songs. The Audience is great because it reminds me a lot of what their earlier stuff, like In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth. It reminds me a lot of that title track, and it's just great. I like the CD a lot, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I was as nervous going into the CD as as I was, because it's just, I mean, like I said, they just haven't let me down yet. And yeah, it's different. The concept is not there, obviously, but yeah, just, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I am not the biggest Coheed and Cambria fan, but we did go see them together. So, that was a really cool experience.
At Bluebird in Bloomington.
I'll never forget the first time I heard Welcome Home, though. I think it was like, it might have been on Guitar Hero or something. It might have been on that first Guitar Hero. And I was just entranced by that song. That song is so good. And I listen to it all the time to this day. And, seeing them in like a small venue like we did was a really cool experience too. Cause they're a bigger band, and the venue that we saw them in was a venue in Bloomington, Indiana, where IU is. And it was really, intimate. So that was really cool.
Yeah. I love that experience. I've seen them. I think that was the third time I saw them. I think I saw them a couple of times when I lived in Vegas, because I go to Vegas, it seems like once a tour. And so I saw them a couple of times in Vegas, once at the Hard Rock Cafe, which was a really cool show.
Oh, that is cool.
They were co-headlining with Killswitch Engage, and we lucked out because when bands co-headline, they just take turns.
Yes.
Headlining?
Yes.
I couldn't think of the word. I had just said it a couple of times. That's embarrassing. And we lucked out. My sister and I went, and she's a big Coheed fan as well. She actually named her first dog Coheed, which I'm jealous of, because I would have named one of my dogs that if she hadn't already beat me to it. But we went and saw it together, and they played before Killswitch, and so we just fucking left.
that exact same thing happened with me. Avenged Sevenfold's my favorite band, and they come to Evansville once, and it's embarrassing to say this, but they were headlining a tour with Buck Cherry.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Yes.
That's like my worst nightmare. I don't like Avenged Sevenfold.
Well, Avenged Sevenfold played first, and we fucking bailed.
Oh yeah.
Like, I know you say you don't like Avenged Sevenfold, but I'm sure, I would hope that you like them a lot better than Buck Cherry. Yeah. Like, that would have been a disaster to have to sit through that.
If you had asked me to go see that concert, I probably just want to punch you in the dick.
I know, well, I like Killswitch Engage. I like one of their CDs. I like The End of Heartache, but it's like they hit, to me, I mean, obviously you probably have a different opinion. To me, they hit like a grand slam with that. And then everything else I've ever heard from them is total garbage. So
everything I've ever heard from them is total garbage.
Yeah.
Coheed is so weird to me. They have such a, like, I don't think anybody can really pin them down, because I've seen, I didn't go to this show, but they tour like with Slipknot, and like they tour with weird bands, because I don't think they can really nail down who they are. Cause I mean, they're basically a new, like a modern version of Rush. And I think that it's kind of hard to nail down.
It's weird that, that's really weird. They're with Slipknot of all people.
They tour on a lot of those like really heavier rock. I don't want to say metal, because if we have any metal listeners, they'll be like, Slipknot's not metal, but, like the heavier rock groups like Slipknot, and, I can't even name the other garbage bands that they've toured with, but like, even if I don't go to the show, I'll still see, because I'm obviously, follow them on Facebook or whatever, and they always post shit like that. And, they always like are really weird. They tour with really weird, bands. Like they'll tour with, like Drive-Thru Records and stuff like that, but then they'll tour with Slipknot, and it's just like, they can't really nail down who they are.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, because they have such a unique sound.
Yeah. All right. So what's your second, what you're into?
This one would be a lot quicker than what The Walking Dead was. This, was Brooklyn Nine-Nine this week, had a Halloween 3, their Halloween themed episode. And I gotta say, I was kind of disappointed with it.
Oh, really? I liked it a lot.
I thought I saw the twist coming from a mile, like the whole episode.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that was
the whole janitor thing. I saw as soon as they showed it, I was like, that's her. Yeah.
So that was a little disappointing. It definitely had its funny moments still. Like, that show's consistently pretty funny. It wasn't necessarily a bad episode. It was just, the first Halloween episode was like one of my favorites, and then I really liked the second one as well. So you don't see very many Halloween themed episodes of shows anymore, like you used to with sitcoms in the 90s. And I think we talked about this last year. We did a nerd favorite for our Halloween episode. What's our favorite Halloween themed movie or a TV episode of all time?
Yeah.
And we talked about like Home Improvement and some others. So you don't see that kind of stuff like you used to. And I was really looking forward to watching Brooklyn Nine-Nines, and it was just, I don't know, it was okay.
Yeah. Do you think that has more to do with people not actually watching it when it airs. They kind of, TV shows have kind of changed in that sense that they don't really want to focus on a particular season or a particular event just because.
I mean, it very well could be.
Yeah, they just don't want to date the show like that.
Yeah, like Modern Family, for example, used to have like a Halloween episode every season.
Yeah, because Claire loves Halloween.
Yeah, and this year they have like a 2-week hiatus right around Halloween, so they're not going to have a Halloween episode. Yeah. So it's just weird.
I think that has a lot to do with the World Series, though.
That is probably very true as well. I didn't honestly think about that.
Yeah. Scream Queens, they took a 2 weeks hiatus.
They took a 2-week hiatus for Halloween.
They took it for the World Series, yeah. Because the World Series is on Fox.
I mean, yeah, but when you have a show called Scream Queens, I wonder if they'll come back though and have a Halloween episode that they meant to show. And they already
had their Halloween episode.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they had the pumpkin patch thing that happened on Halloween.
I only saw half the pilots. So.
But yeah, they've already had their Halloween episode.
Okay, well that makes me feel a little better. Then like you have to have a Halloween episode with a show like that.
Yeah. I really love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've talked about it I think the first season I brought it up as one of what I'm into, and I'm really proud of that show and how it's evolved. And I think my wife has gotten kind of tired of it, but I still laugh a lot.
I like it a lot. It hasn't gotten old to me. It's a lot of the same kind of humor, but it's really funny and it has a really great cast. Yeah,
I mentioned that it reminded me a lot of Parks and Rec and how I wasn't really that impressed with Parks and Rec in the first season, and it kind of evolved as one of my favorite shows of all time. And I'm not saying that Brooklyn Nine-Nine's there at all, but it's kind of taking the same course. And so I'm really liking where it's going. And yeah, it hasn't got old for me as well.
Oh, for sure. So what's your next one?
My next one is Halo 5. Guardians just came out this past Tuesday. Obviously, we're in the midst of Shocktober. Well, now we're at the end of Shocktober, but
that's depressing.
Yeah, it really is. It flew by this year, but so it was kind of hard for me to find time to play this game, which is kind of a bummer. I've literally played it. I think I combined like maybe 6 or 7 hours in this past week. And I haven't even gotten through the campaign. I always like to play the campaign first and then start playing the multiplayer just so I get used to any new mechanics as far as the controls and stuff. And there's not a whole lot different in this game versus the past games. The only thing I wanted to bring up was the campaign is super short.
Really?
Like I said, I've only played it for like 6 or 7 hours. I'm at the last mission right now. I just started the last mission last night. There's 15 missions. There's a couple of missions that are literally, you have to go talk to this other person, and then you're done. Like it takes 5 minutes total.
Wow.
I think there was like 2 or 3 missions like that. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then in some missions, it takes me 20, 30 minutes.
I mean, I saw a review for it that said that the campaign was lackluster, but the multiplayer was great.
The story is really cool. And of course, on Xbox One, and the graphics are amazing. The cutscenes are really cool. So I liked the campaign, and I'm saying that as in past tense because by probably the end of this weekend, by the time this episode drops, I'll be done with it and I'll be on to multiplayer. But it's just not very long. And some of the villains in this campaign are just kind of, there's a warden internal, which you have to fight him multiple times during the game. And the first time I fought him, it was really tough because I couldn't figure out how to beat him. All you have to do is shoot this little thing on his back. You basically can't kill him if you don't shoot him in the back, but there's a dash button. And so all you have to do is he runs at you, you dash behind him and just shoot him a bunch of times with a shotgun or a scatter shot, and he dies like almost immediately. Like it got to the point in the game where I think the second time you fight him, it's like super easy because once you get the pattern, it's just like old boss games once you find the pattern, it's super easy. And so it got to the point where they literally, they must have known when they were developing the game that it was going to be pretty easy to beat him, because at the end you have to fight 3 of them at the same time, which was kind of tough. But for the most part, the campaign has been kind of lackluster. I do like, and I don't want to spoil the campaign for anybody that hasn't played the game yet, but there's a certain twist, not necessarily twist, but just a certain plot, storyline, or whatever you want to call it, where you actually have to hunt Master Chief. And so that's kind of cool. That he's sort of a bad guy for a little bit.
Huh.
I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, I guess, that he ends up being the hero at the end, but it's just kind of, it was different. I like that. And there's a really cool cutscene with one of the characters fighting Master Chief, and that was kind of cool to see. But overall, I'm not super impressed with the game so far. Like I said, the campaign is really lackluster. It's super, super quick and pretty easy. I'm not playing in a legendary, mind you, so I'm sure legendary would be really tough.
I was going to ask you what your difficulty was.
I was just playing on normal. I like to go through it on normal at first and play multiplayer for a while. And then if I'm still really into this game, I'll go back and play it on legendary. I don't know if that's ever going to happen because Star Wars Battlefront comes out. I'm kind of like, it's almost like a ticking clock for me.
It's almost stressful.
Yeah, it is kind of stressing me out a little bit because I know I'll play the shit out of that game. That game looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, it does.
But I haven't started on the multiplayer, so I can't comment on that. But the campaign so far, the story is cool. The graphics are amazing, of course. It's been fun. It's just, I wish it was longer.
Yeah, I just bought this yesterday, and I was going back and forth on getting it because of the looming Star Wars Battlefront release. But I did decide to go ahead and get it. I've never not gotten a Halo game, and
yeah.
I kind of like snapped out of it yesterday. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's Halo 5. Of course,
the Master Chief collection was very, very disappointing. That was a waste of money.
Yeah, 100% waste of money. So it's good to hear that it's at least better than that. It works. So.
Well, I haven't played the multiplayer yet, so I don't know if it works or not.
But I'm looking forward to playing it. I have the install still ahead of me, so that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's about 2 hours.
So I just need to get that going. I guess when I get home.
I was actually kind of pissed about that because I have Amazon Prime and I used to work 11 to 7. So it was great because I would order something and you get free release date shipping. So I would pre-order all my DVDs and all that good stuff, all my video games. And it would be sitting there when I got home at like 7:30. Well, now I just changed shifts and now I get off at 4:30. Apparently the UPS guy does not get there until almost 5.
Oh, that sucks.
So I was checking my phone all day, the day that it came out, because I I waited to take my lunch because I only live like 5-10 minutes away from my work. And so I was actually going to take my lunch, run home, start the upload, go back to work, like have it upload while I was finishing my shift and then come home and just play it right off the bat. But it never happened. It didn't get, delivered until like 4:45. So I was pretty pissed about that. So my shift changes kind of screwed my Amazon Prime little setup I had. Cause honestly, I would have just gone to Target and bought it at Target if I had known that, cause I didn't get it any cheaper from doing Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
The only reason I do that is because it's there waiting for me when I get home and I don't have to make that extra trip cause I'm pretty lazy. So I don't want to make that extra trip if I don't have to. So I was kind of bummed out about that cause not only I didn't get it until after I got home, but I also had to wait the 2 hours to upload it. And by then my wife was home and dinner was ready. And so I didn't really get to play it a whole lot that first night. So that was kind of disappointing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like I said, it's a little lackluster so far with the campaign. there is and you've had this in past games. You're a team of Spartans. So you have some help, but your teammates are fucking worthless, man. They are so bad. There's a new mechanic where if you get down, you can kind of call for their help and you have like a little timer. It's basically like zombies. If you ever played zombies on Call of Duty, you can get downed and somebody can come and help you. But and you can do the vice versa. You can go help your down teammates. But honestly, I just leave them. Cause by the time the next checkpoint, they just rejoin you anyways. Cause cause of the cutscenes. Yeah. When you eventually get to a cutscene, all your team's with you. So they don't ever essentially die. Most of the time I just run in there, just Rambo the shit out of it. And if they live, they live. They're basically just there to help me if I get downed.
Yeah.
So I leave them behind. I'd be a terrible soldier.
I mean, the campaign's co-op though, if you want it to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that they put a lot of emphasis on that, right?
Yeah. So that would be cool, but I don't have any friends that play it. So yeah.
Well, anyways, that one took a really sad turn.
Yeah, pretty much. So what is your, you don't have any other, okay. Yeah.
I just had two. So if you want to go ahead with your last one.
All right. I'll be quick with it. We're running a little bit longer than I thought we would. Last night, just kind of impromptu, I went and saw the Scout's Guide for the Zombie Apocalypse. I thought it looked really fun, and it kind of reminded me of how I felt going into Zombieland.
Yeah.
It just sounded cool. It was not. It was not fun at all. It was so fucking stupid, man. It tried way too hard to not only be funny, but also it's rated R, which I did not know until I actually got there. And so it tried way too hard to be kind of just shock you and just to be kind of gross. Like there's a scene of a zombie going down on a girl.
Gross.
Yeah, it was super just gross and just way over the top. And I think I might have chuckled like 1 or 2 times. Like it wasn't funny at all because it was just like, come on, man. I don't know. It just tried way too hard. It was very disappointing. It wasn't fun at all. So I was really bummed out about it because I didn't really have very high expectations going into it.
Yeah.
But I thought it looked fun and I liked the zombie genre. So I was looking forward to kind of having a different take on that, but it wasn't fun at all. I didn't think it was funny. It wasn't cute. It was really like, I don't know what's more ridiculous, a zombie going down on a girl, or there was one scene where a character was literally like hanging off the side of a house holding onto a zombie dick.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how just stupid this fucking movie was.
Yeah, I hadn't actually even seen trailers for it. I just was on IGN one day and they had a review of it up and I didn't even read it. I just figured it was like a direct to video or direct to streaming movie.
No,
I didn't realize
it hit theaters.
Is there anybody with a name?
What's his name? He was in Mud and
Matthew McConaughey.
No. The kid.
I know who you're talking about.
He's in it and the kid, the guy that has the crazy hair in Workaholics.
Oh yeah, Blake something.
Yeah, he is the best part of that movie, and he's only in it for like 5 minutes. Like the opening scene where and you kind of see how the outbreak happens. He's essentially the reason the outbreak happens, and his scene is fucking hilarious, and that is the only part that I think I laughed the entire movie.
Yeah, that's a bummer, I guess.
Spoiler alert, I don't expect anybody to see this movie because it was bad, but he dies at the beginning. So once he
so it's like it's probably like one of his friends made this movie and he's like, well, yeah, I'm kind of,
I don't know who wrote it, but I know they wrote and created Workaholics, so it'd be really disappointing if it was them that wrote it. I doubt it. I mean, I know he's an actor too, so he probably does his own shit, whatever he wants to do. But yeah, it was disappointing. That first scene is really cool and funny. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of digging this. And then from then on, once you see the actual scouts, it goes way downhill really quickly.
Yeah, that's a bummer that you spent the last day before Halloween on that. I mean, I'm sure you watched something else, right? Or did you not?
Yeah, I watched American Werewolf in London while I was at work.
Yeah, but kind of like one of the finales being that movie.
Yeah.
Kind of stinks.
I'll watch Trick or Treat tonight, like I said, and kind of get that bad taste out of my mouth.
All right. So you want to go on to comics?
Yeah.
That might have been the longest what we're into we've ever done.
This is almost as long as an actual, like one of our full-length episodes.
That was unexpected. So I'll be quick with my comic because I've talked about it previously, but at the end of September, we talked about what we were looking forward to with Shocktober, and I talked about Wolf Moon and looking forward to finishing that throughout Shocktober. And I did finish it, and I really, really liked it at the end of September. And now that I'm done with it, I would still say that I really enjoyed it as a miniseries, but it kind of felt rushed towards the end of it. So with a miniseries of 6 issues, it was kind of a slow burn the first couple issues, and it was a lot of fun. I love the werewolves in it, and the mythology around the werewolves kind of being turned on its head a little bit with it not being the same person every full moon cycle, it going from person to person and just kind of at random. Well, issues 3, 4, 5, and 6, it introduces new characters kind of not abruptly, but it introduces new characters that they weave into the story, and those characters are dispatched of pretty quickly. So it's just kind of left me wondering why even take the time to introduce them. And then the ending, issue 6, seemed really, really rushed. So there is a cliffhanger at the end of it. I mean, of course, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that they do more, but I looked all over the internet and I can't see any announcement of them doing more Wolf Moon. So I hope they do, given what the cliffhanger kind of was implying, but I would still recommend it. It's just, it didn't hold up as good as those first 2 issues were.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of disappointing because it sounded really intriguing, and I like werewolf stories. I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been intrigued by them, so.
Yeah.
All right, what comic are you into?
I'm going to talk about two real quick. You had mentioned, I think it was last episode, they kind of all blend together, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you talked about Invincible Iron Man, number one, and you talked about how it was a good Tony Stark story, not really an Iron Man story, and I was really intrigued by that because I think I agreed with you that I'm much more interested in Tony Stark as a person than I am necessarily as him as Iron Man. That's why I really liked Iron Man 3 more than most people.
Yeah.
Is because it's much more of a Tony Stark story. And I was intrigued, but because I buy so much comic books, I wasn't planning on getting it. But I got my new Marvel Collector Core box, and they always throw in a variant cover, like an exclusive Marvel Collector Core variant cover comic book in each box. And I was excited to see that this was the comic book that they threw in. And so I read it and I really enjoyed it. I kind of agreed with everything that you had mentioned. The Thor thing didn't land as much as I thought it. And I think it was just because you had built it up so much.
Yeah.
It's funny. And if I had not known that was going to happen, I probably would have laughed, but I just like, okay, well, that's what Tyler talked about. And, And so
Sorry,
I kind of went on
that for you.
No, it's fine. But I definitely like that he's barely in the suit. It reminded me a lot of Iron Man 3. And like I said, I'm a fan of that movie more than most people are or were. So I really liked it. And I kind of agreed with everything that you said about it. It was good. I liked the Tony Stark story. I probably won't keep reading it, but.
Oh, you don't think so?
I'm not crazy about the cliffhanger.
Oh, I was going to ask you what you thought of that.
I don't know. I don't know how it aligns with Secret Wars and.
Well, yeah, because Secret Wars isn't even fucking over yet. Yeah. We're already like going into the next phase of things. They really kind of fucked up with those release dates, I think. Yeah.
And so I don't know how it kind of works out with that timeline or what, but I just wasn't crazy about it.
Okay.
But
that's fair.
The comic book was cool. The cover, I don't know. I know you got this box. You did an awesome unboxing that you can find on our YouTube channel. Did you get the comic? I guess I'm kind of outing myself that I didn't actually watch the whole video.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm sure it was the same exact box you got. Because it sounds like we both, so you got
you got the zombie cover, right?
I don't think I got the zombie cover. I saw yours sitting there and I have the same cover as yours.
Yeah, it's Iron Man with a bunch of zombies.
I didn't even notice the zombies.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Which has absolutely nothing to do with the story.
I looked at the comic. I'm like, oh, well, I have this one. And I said, I didn't really put much attention.
I've actually this is the first box. I've gotten 3 boxes now and they're awesome. They're all been really good.
Yeah, they have.
But this is the first one that I got the comic and I hadn't already had it yet. I think the Ant-Man one obviously was an Ant-Man variant cover, which I love that book. And then, the Secret Wars was just a Secret Wars variant cover, which obviously I already have all of those. So this was the first one that I hadn't had the comic book yet. And it was really the first one, now that I'm thinking about it, that didn't really go with the theme all that much. But,
no, it didn't.
It was a villain theme, which was really cool. Got a sweet, Venom pop keychain that I was super excited about. I'm not a super toy collector, but I'm very much like, don't take it out of the box. But I was just like, fuck it. And that keychain is on my keys right now. I love it.
I'm scared that if I put it on my keychain, it's going to get ripped off.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm just like, whatever. I mean, I my wife got it for me for my birthday, but it's like $25 a box, 30 with shipping. I'm going to fucking use it. Like it's a cool little thing. The t-shirt is fucking awesome. I posted that on our Facebook page.
I'm wearing it now.
Oh yeah. Not my shirt.
I'm not wearing Pat's shirt. I'm wearing my shirt that I got in the box.
But yeah, it's definitely the coolest box so far. The box itself is really cool because it's got Venom on the top of the box.
I have the box sitting on my shelf. I'm going to keep that box.
For sure.
Yeah, it was a breath of fresh air. I hate to rag on something that's comic related because, I'm really supportive of all nerd culture, but I had got 2 of the Wizard World Comic-Con boxes.
Yeah.
And I did an unboxing of the first one on the YouTube page, and I filmed an unboxing of the second one, and I never actually posted it because it was just so bad.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't want to post it and just rag on them. But the box was so lame and all of the stuff in it was terrible. So I switched to the Marvel Corp box, and it was a kind of breath of fresh air because it was so much cooler.
It's totally worth it, man.
And it's cool that the Funko Pop is unique to, or exclusive. And there's one coming out in mid-November called Smuggler's Bounty that's not obviously Marvel, but it's for Star Wars. And the first box comes with like 2 exclusive Funko Pops, and
that's cool.
People love that shit. So I'm probably going to
Which ones did you get?
For the Funko?
Yeah.
I got the Venom keychain. I got Morbius. And then I got a Loki.
Okay, so you got the exact same ones that I got. Because didn't you say that there was a different one? Yeah, well, we had this conversation before the podcast.
On the Morbius Funko Pop, if you look at the back of it, it kind of shows what's in that wave, I guess.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
There's Morbius, and then there's Zombie Morbius. So I don't know if those were the 2 exclusive to the boxes or what. But
yeah.
There's a Zombie Morbius out there, and I thought that if you got that would have been right up your alley. So
yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Morbius is such a cool villain, though, and it's so cool to have a Funko Pop of him.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so my second comic book, and I'll try to make this pretty brief because we are going pretty long, and we haven't got to the main topic yet. Uncanny Inhumans, #1. I talked about the Zero, like it was more of a one shot. I think it was probably at least 3-4 months ago. Was released. And it was kind of just, more backstory on Black Bolt. And it was more just a really focused, self-contained story about him. And I'll have to be honest, I think I'm more of after reading, #1, I think I'm just more of a Black Bolt fan than I am a Inhuman fan, because this book was just all over the place for me. I really liked the Black Bolt stuff. There was really kind of 2 stories that went on. The Black Bolt stuff and then the Medusa stuff. And I don't give a fuck about Medusa. I really could care less. There's some really like behind closed doors romance with Johnny Storm, and it's kind of weird. And the cliffhanger in this book is kind of stupid because I don't care about that romance. The Black Bolt stuff, they're like fighting a T-Rex, and it's really cool. And then the Medusa stuff is just, it's just all over the place. And it's really, obviously Zero was a much more contained story, like I said. But with the #1, they're actually starting the series, so they have to give new readers more exposition and more background. And it was just really over-explaining stuff. And it was just, it was really exposition heavy. And, I talked about Doctor Strange #1 and how it gave his backstory, but it did it in an interesting way. This book, it just flat out just told you what was happening and just over-explained everything. So it was good, but it was just, if it focuses more on Black Bolt, I'll be happy. But if it goes more towards the Medusa stuff, I'll be pretty disappointed with this book.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I went back and forth, and I was like, should I start Inhumans or should I not? And I don't know a ton about the Inhumans, so I thought about doing it since there will be a movie eventually that comes out, and they're doing that on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, maybe. And I don't know, I just didn't get into it. And then another week, Vin Diesel kept talking about, like, there's a rumor, I guess, of him playing Black Bolt in the movie. And I don't know anything about that character, so what do you think of casting like that?
No. Fuck no.
I mean, I don't condone Vin Diesel being cast for anything, so.
Yeah, I think I made a joke on our Facebook page that this is probably him, rumored to be casting as Black Bolt is probably the reason they decided to can the movie, because that would be horrible. And I don't even think they would do it, because technically he's already a character in Marvel. Because, I mean, it's just his voice, but I don't think that they would do that.
You know, there'd be eventually some crossover with the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Inhumans, and then there'd be some cheesy scene between Groot and Black Bolt. And
yeah.
I can already see it, and it makes me shudder.
Yeah. But no, Vin Diesel, you're not going to be Black Bolt.
Is he bald? Is that the only reason Vin Diesel's being...
I don't think I've ever seen Black Bolt without his
mask?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So you ready to move on?
Yeah, that's my comics, yeah.
All right, so you want to forego nerd news? I mean, we went pretty long, and there's nothing great this week anyway, so we can just move those stories to next week.
Sure. Yeah. I had a hard time finding stuff to post on our Facebook page and Twitter, because I like to post some of those stories throughout the week, and I figured you were going to be, nerd news was going to be kind of lackluster this week, because I was having a hard time finding stuff to post.
Okay, cool. So we'll just forego it this week, and hopefully we'll have some good stories to talk about next week.
All right, cool, man. So our main topic, we did a Shocktober preview at the beginning of the month. And so it's the end of the month. We're going to do a Shocktober review. If this is your first episode and don't know what Shocktober is, it's just kind of our celebration of the horror genre and Halloween in general, where we try to watch a horror movie every day, of October. So obviously the ultimate goal is to watch one every day. So 31 movies. That didn't happen for me. I don't know about you. Well, I do know because you were gone in Disney for the first week. So I know you didn't watch a movie every day. I did hit 31, but I didn't watch one every day, which is kind of a bummer. But at the same time, we have busy schedules. So it's a little unrealistic to watch one every day. So my ultimate goal is to watch one every day, but more realistic, I just want to hit 31.
Yeah.
So that being said, Tyler, how'd you do this year? What's your stats?
This would be the worst Shocktober I've had since I've started doing it.
Okay.
And
off to a good start.
Yeah. So part of it was, like you said, I was in Disney for the first half, so that put me behind to begin with because I'm not going to sit in Disney World and watch horror movies as much as I love both of those things. But this has been a really crazy month for work for me. Just to get a little personal, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm human resources for a big retail chain. Mm-hmm. So I'm hiring.
Do you personally purposely not name who you work for?
I mean, kind of.
Because you're vague about it on past episodes. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I just prefer
okay, that's cool.
Because I don't want to associate me saying fuck with the company I work for, and it's not the big deal. I mean, it's Target.
Or zombies going down on somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I guess it's not that big of a secret. It's Target. But so I do a lot. I'm doing the hiring for Christmas actually right now. And October is like this huge month. So I've just been putting in crazy hours and haven't been able to get home and just dive into movies. So that being said, I did do okay. I counted TV shows. So for every TV show, 2 episodes of a TV show I watched, I counted that as 1 credit.
Okay.
So I'm sitting at like, I think after last night, I'm sitting at 29.
Okay.
And as long as I watch 2 movies today, I'll make it.
Okay, that's cool.
But it was by the skin on my teeth.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty impressive since you missed. Were you gone a week?
I was gone the first 4 days of October because it started. My vacation started at the end of September.
Okay, cool. So that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel kind of slimy about counting TV shows.
I mean, it's the spirit of it.
Yeah, and I also count stuff that I don't know. I've said stuff that I would count that you wouldn't count, like Hocus Pocus. I know you said you wouldn't count. I think of it more of a celebration for Halloween, not necessarily it having to be horror movies. So if it's Halloween themed, I kind of count it a little bit. So
I counted one, and I'll get to it here in a little bit, but A Lonely Place to Die, I counted that, and I probably shouldn't have, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, I feel like I had a pretty successful Shocktober. I've watched 32 films, and obviously I'm going to watch Trick or Treat tonight, so it'll ultimately be 33. So I feel like that's been pretty successful. It's really been kind of a tale of 2 Shocktobers. Beginning of the month, I was working 11 to 7, like I mentioned before, and so I would watch it. My wife would go to bed fairly early because she has to get up like a normal person at like 7. So she'd go to bed early, and I didn't have to go to bed until like 2 or 3 because I didn't have to be at work until 11. So I'd watch 2 or 3 at night, like the first couple of weeks. So I was like, it was like day 10 or 12, and I already had like 17 or 18. Like I'd watched a ton of them.
That's awesome.
Well, about halfway through October, I switched to 8 to 4:30, which it turns out we have this special project that I'm kind of the head of. And so they wanted me to come in at 7 to kind of get a jump start on that. So recently, the last week and a half, I've been coming in at 7. So I've been getting up at 6. So I can't stay up obviously until 2 or 3. So it's been really hard for me to find time to squeeze it in. So I got a huge jump start on Shocktober the first couple of weeks, which if I hadn't, I wouldn't have made my numbers. But I mean, it's been fun. I've watched a lot of movies that I haven't watched in a long time. I've watched a lot of different types of movies, which is fun. I've been trying to watch like different genres. Like I tried to watch a vampire movie, some werewolf movies, some just paranormal movies, which I don't really like all that much. And I tried to find some found footage movies as well, which we talked about in an earlier episode. So I've kept it fresh in that sense. I haven't really watched that much horror TV other than maybe Scream Queens.
Yeah.
So, and we've had our disagreement about how good that show is. So, yeah, so mostly it's been movies for me this year. I like to switch it up. Like last year, tried to watch American Horror Story, and I also tried to read How to Survive a Horror movie by Seth Grahame-Smith. I didn't get through it, but I tried to read it. That's just kind of like spread it out a little bit. But I didn't do a whole lot of that this year. It's mostly just movies for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like you had a much more successful one than I did.
Yeah. So you would say that yours wasn't very successful then?
No, not at all, because I know we'll get into it, but I just didn't get to a lot of the things I wanted to. And
yeah,
I don't know. I felt like I flew by the seat of my pants a lot of days. Like I got to find something on Netflix to watch, or I got to find something I can rent from iTunes really quick to watch. So there wasn't a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Last year was such a good one that this is a bit disappointing for the one I had.
Yeah, the Shudder app kind of saved me this past week, because I talked about it in our preview that I was doing the free trial for the Shudder app, and I don't know how new it is. Like, I know it's within the past year. And so they're just really trying to work out the kinks, I think, because for me, the collection is kind of lackluster. The app itself, I like how it's formatted. But like I was watching them at work. I'd prop my phone up on my desk and watch a movie, but occasionally I'd have to pause it to do something at work, obviously. And my phone goes to sleep after like 2 minutes or something like that. And so if my phone went to sleep and I went back, it wouldn't let me, if I hit play, it wouldn't do anything. And so I'd have to back out and start the movie, not over again, but I'd have to go back to the menu, find the movie, click on it, and then it would pick up where it left off, but it was just super annoying. And so there are definitely some bugs, and if they add some more movies, I would suggest it. Plus, not only do they need to add more movies, but they also need to add more devices, because I think as of right now, it's only iOS and Android devices. Like, I couldn't watch it on my Xbox, which is disappointing. So I couldn't watch it on my TV. All I could watch it on was my iPhone, which, I mean, I have an iPhone 6 Plus, so it was kind of like watching it on a miniature iPad. So it wasn't too bad in that sense, but I would definitely suggest it. Maybe check it out next year. Maybe they kind of work out some kinks by then and they add some more movies. Because towards the end of the month, they were adding some good ones, like Cannibal Holocaust was added. They added a lot of like foreign horror movies that I watched that I really liked. I watched A Lonely Place to Die, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Like I said, I counted that, and I'll explain why I don't think I should have counted that, but I'll get in that here in a little bit. But yeah, I think mine was successful just because I did get my numbers, even though I did have to skip a few days here and there because the guy that has to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night now, which I hate, but it is what it is. I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, which hopefully will end here shortly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of the tale of two different months for me. Just when I changed shifts, it kind of, my Shocktober definitely took a dip.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So did you get to all of the movies that you were looking forward to? Did you get to watch all your staples or?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Like I said, I watched I guess the one good thing about the Shocktober was it was mostly full of first time watches, which was cool.
Yeah, me too.
Like the only staples that I really got to were like Halloween and Saw, and then I'm going to watch American Werewolf in London and Trick or Treat today, so I know I'll get to those. But for the most part, it was just new stuff, and most of them were not good. Like, going through like the best of, when we get to that, like I had to really, split hairs just because, I don't know. It was a bad Shocktober. Okay.
Yeah. To answer my own question, yeah, I didn't either. I didn't get to all my staples. I watched The Descent and I watched The Crazies, but I
watched The Crazies.
Okay, cool. And I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
Both of those movies. Every time I watch it, I find something else I like about it. But I did not get to The Thing or The Mist, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I really wanted to watch The Mist this year as well, because I haven't seen it in a couple years, and I don't think I'll be able to get to it, so that's disappointing as well.
And I also think I talked about The Orphanage when we did our preview, that I wanted to watch that again. I'm not too bummed that I didn't get to see that, just because it's not really a scary movie. It's creepy and it has its moments, but it's more of a family drama than it is a horror movie. So I'm not super bummed that I didn't get to that. I did, however, watch Behind the Mask, which I've talked about before, where I didn't, everyone loves that movie, and I didn't quite get it the first time. I blind bought it at Coconuts, and I watched it that one time, and I didn't get why everybody loved it so much. And rewatching it again this Shocktober, I have learned to appreciate it a little bit more, but I wouldn't say that I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I disagree with you there. I really like that movie, and unfortunately, I didn't get to it this year. I did watch it last year, but I really enjoy it.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and move right to the highlights or best of Shocktober, and then we'll talk about some of our low lights.
Okay, so do you want to
just bounce back and forth?
Yeah. Should I just keep it to first time watches? Because that's what I did.
Didn't.
Okay, because that's what I did. I mean, I've talked.
Well, I guess I kind of did, but I didn't do it on purpose.
Well, I mean, I could talk about like Halloween was a great watch. Like that's a given.
Let's go ahead and.
There were most of what I watched for the first time was not great, but I did find 3 that I really enjoyed seeing for the first time, and one of these you're going to be really surprised that I hadn't seen it. So the first one I'll do is The Final Girls.
I've never even heard of that movie.
Yeah, I think it went straight to streaming, or it probably had like a limited theatrical run. It has a great cast. It has, what's her name? Vera Farmiga's little sister, who's in the first season of American Horror Story and the third season of American Horror Story. I forget what her name is. Last name's obviously Farmiga. She's in it. And then Malin Ackerman. It's funny that you said that Blake Anderson from Workaholics was in that zombie movie, because Adam Devine from Workaholics is in this movie. And, who else? The main guy from Silicon Valley, which I love. So it had a pretty well-known cast. It's a really fucking weird movie though.
Oh yeah.
So Malin Ackerman plays, the mom to the younger Farmiga sister, and I wish I would have knew her name. But, in the beginning of the movie, she dies in a car wreck, and she had been a scream queen. She was in basically Friday the 13th in the 80s. It's 100% Friday the 13th, but of course they don't call it Friday the 13th. They call it some other name, but sure. It's the same exact story. And, so she's looking for work and she dies, and inadvertently at a screening of that movie, a group of characters the theater catches on fire, and they go through the screen. They cut the screen open and go through the screen to get out of the building, and they wind up in the movie. I know it doesn't sound good, but it's really,
that sounds really stupid.
I know it does, but it's really fun. And so these characters are here, and they're trying to find out how to get out, and they realize they just have to kind of go with the movie, and it's a lot of fun. So
it sounds really dumb.
I know. And I knew that as soon as I explained it, it was going to sound really dumb, but it's really, it's really self-aware.
Yeah.
And
meta.
Yeah. It's very meta. It's not scary at all, but it is like a horror movie, but there's a lot of comedy in it. And sure. I'd really recommend it. Just like, I wouldn't recommend buying it. I'd recommend like renting it or streaming it. It's definitely worth a Shocktober viewing, in my opinion.
All right, cool.
What about you?
I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit. I really enjoyed going to Shocktober in Irvington. Oh, so yeah. That was a lot of fun. The drive was pretty hectic, like we talked about before. It was fun to have a road trip with you, because we don't get to hang out non-podcast very much anymore. So that was kind of fun.
Except for the actual road part.
Yeah, the actual driving part was not that much fun. And I thought the shorts were really well done. The documentary at the end. Yeah. I'm just not a ghost story kind of guy. I just don't buy into it, and stuff like that. It felt really ghost adventure-y to me. And I don't know. I don't buy into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bummer, but I thought I
didn't like that either.
Yeah. I thought the guys over the Obsessive Viewer, of course, did a really great job, and it's just fun being to those kind of really indie events. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Next year, maybe stay up there the drive there wasn't horrible. It was just a drive back because I was tired.
Next year we'll be premiering our short. So
hopefully.
So of course we'll need to stay up there, because we'll probably toast champagne and drive back. And
they'll probably give us the Oscar right there. And yeah, it'll be crazy.
Yeah. Next year's going to be super insane.
Yeah. So what's your next highlight?
This is the one you're going to be surprised. I've never seen this all the way through, and you're probably going to roll your eyes that I'm counting this, because I actually brought this up earlier this month and you said you would not count it necessarily. So Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I can't believe you've never seen that yet.
I saw it in middle school, like bits and pieces of it. And I mean, everybody's seen like the time warp scene, but I had never sat down and watched it from start to finish.
That's depressing.
I know. And I watched it earlier this week, actually, and I fucking loved it so much.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Like,
it's my 10th favorite movie of all time.
I want to watch it again. I have the Blu-ray. I just never got around to watching it. And I've wanted to go to one of the events for so long. Yeah. And we almost did one year and it got canceled, or we got the dates mixed up or something.
Yeah, that was the year that we got the dates mixed up.
Yeah. And that really bummed me out, and I still really want to go to one. And it seems like at this point we almost have to go to a bigger city for it.
For sure.
I don't think Evansville does it anymore, but just finally seeing it from start to finish, just really reignited that for me. I really want to get in costume and go and participate in it because it's such a fun movie, and the music is amazing, and it's just so well done, and it holds up. It's like 40 years old now, right?
Yeah. It's exactly 40 years old.
And it's been everywhere. They just re-released a Blu-ray.
Which looks awesome.
40th anniversary. Target has it for $7.50.
Oh, I was talking about the collection. They have a huge collection.
Oh, I thought that's the only one I had seen. They had
they have like a huge collection.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll have to get that one.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I have the 35th edition, and it's cool. It has some cool features, but I'd like to have something bigger because of how much I loved it. But again, it's been 40 years. They had a reunion in one of the most recent Entertainment Weeklies.
Yeah.
With Meatloaf, Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, and
the one guy
and the other guy.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know his name. I can see his face, but yeah, that movie's great. I would not count it for Shocktober. I actually almost wanted to watch it, and I was just like, but it's not a horror movie. Even though it has horror in the title, it's not a horror movie.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie, but it's just, to me, it's a Halloween movie. Like, the events are always in the month of October. Like, it's just, to me, it's a staple for Halloween, and that's where I think you and I differ in what we count. Is I count things that celebrate Halloween, and you just want to stick to horror, which is fine either way. Yeah. So, that was definitely, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I loved it.
Okay, cool. I'm happy to hear that because, like I said, it was one of my favorite movies of all time.
I gotta say, I thought Meatloaf would be in it a little more, but
his song is awesome though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, that whole soundtrack is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is. Like, I've been listening to Time Warp like nonstop for the last few days. It's great.
Yeah. We did Time Warp at my wedding.
I didn't know
Chrissy's
it.
Chrissy's family was very uncomfortable.
I know. I was actually thinking about that whenever I was watching. I'm like, man, that was an awkward dance.
Her dad, for like a year later after that, was like, you have some weird friends. Like, every time he saw me, you have some weird friends.
It's the pelvic thrust that drive you insane.
It really is. But the next highlight I wanted to talk about, and I'll keep it pretty short because I've talked about it on a past episode, was The Den. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a found footage movie, which I was surprised at how much I liked it. I liked how they rationalized why they started filming and why they continued to film, which is what my big problem with found footage movies. And I just liked how it wasn't a ghost story or wasn't anything supernatural. It was just, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
And it was much more of a slasher film. But even those slasher films like Halloween and Friday the 13th, it still has that supernatural feel to it, because if you get shot, the guys don't go down or stuff like that. So it still felt real, and it was based in reality, and I just really appreciated it. And I thought it was effectively creepy in moments. It wasn't necessarily super scary. There was a particular jump scare that actually got me, which doesn't happen very often. So I just really liked it. Where she's running down the dark hallway. And then he kind of grabs her. And I mean, I don't know why it got me the way it did, because I kind of saw it coming. It just, I was kind of creeped out during that particular scene, because I don't really like, I don't know. I'm kind of claustrophobic, and I just like, the small hallway. And then it was just, I don't know. It got me a little bit, but I know you didn't like it as much.
I didn't like it as much as you did. It doesn't make my best of list, and it doesn't make my worst of list. So it's just kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I liked it.
Yeah, especially with you hating found footage.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm indifferent to found footage. I think some are well done and some are not. And I find the concept a little spooky sometimes, but it's definitely an oversaturated genre because they're so easy to make and so cheap to make, and people do tend to like them.
For sure. So what's your last highlight?
So this one is another one I remember when this movie came out, how much you hated it. And I watched it last night for the first time and was really surprised with how much I loved it.
If you say Quarantine, I'm going to punch you in the dick.
No, not Quarantine. Insidious.
Oh, God damn it.
I fucking loved it, man. It was great.
Goat, Darth Maul.
Okay, so I did look over while we were watching it and say, all right, now that you see him close up, it's kind of silly. Like,
yeah, he's a goat man, Darth Maul.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, whenever you see his little hooves, it's really fucking silly. Yeah. But I really appreciate how it was shot.
Yeah.
Like, especially whenever the hauntings are kind of happening towards the beginning of the movie, the way that they kind of the camera follows Rose Byrne around and you see things off in the distance. Like, that's always really effective to me whenever you can see maybe a shadowy figure way back at the end of a hallway and you can't really make it out, or if something's lingering in the background. Like, that's always been really effective in a way to scare me.
Sure.
And that movie's full of it. So I thought it was really spooky, and I expected to hate it because of how much you hated it when you first saw it. But the only thing that I would dislike about it is the goat man.
Yeah.
Like you're at the peak of the movie and things are supposed to be really scary and you're just like watching his little hooves walk around, and that's a little silly. But the rest of it I thought was really effectively done.
Yeah, maybe I need to rewatch that because everyone seems to love it, and I'm just like the only one that didn't like it.
It's like, I was like, oh my God, there's 3 of these fucking movies and I've never seen any of them. I just got to watch it. So I look forward. I'll probably watch Insidious 2 soon. Just to see where things go. But I was really surprised by it.
All right, cool. The last one that I wanted to bring up, the last highlight, is a movie that I heard a lot of good things about, and I'd never actually gotten around to watching it. It's called The House of the Devil.
Yeah.
And it's from, I think,
Ty West.
Yeah, the guy that gets shot in You're Next.
Yes.
By the crossbow. The first guy that dies in You're Next. Well, I guess technically it's the neighbor. But anyways, a little off the rails there. And I'd never actually seen any of his movies before that I know of. I know he's done a bunch of movies, but I fucking loved it, man. I just loved the atmosphere of the movie, just how well it was shot and how they just built and built and built. It reminded me a lot of the reasons I love Sinister is that it didn't blow its load like immediately. Like it was a super, super slow burn.
Yeah.
And I just love movies like that build that tension and that atmosphere fear way before you ever see anything supernatural or scary or anything like that. It was just so well done. The soundtrack is killer. Like every song, I was just like, that's perfect. That's a perfect song for this movie. And it was just fantastic. I loved it. The ending kind of was didn't necessarily stick the landing for me, but I mean, I just loved the atmosphere and just how it built and built and built and kind of just, it was definitely a really slow burn. And I just appreciate that because you don't see that very often in horror movies.
Yeah, I liked it a lot as well. I think Ty West is underrated. He has a few horror movies on Netflix I've seen, and all of them are kind of like that. And they all have really mediocre reviews, but I really enjoy his stuff quite a bit.
Okay, cool.
I think The Innkeepers was one that he did, and my wife and I like that. And then there's another one.
The Sacrament? I think he did that one as well.
Not. That's the one I haven't seen.
Okay.
But I've heard that that's actually pretty good. So that one actually got good reviews. But House of the Devil has kind of mediocre reviews, and I like it a lot.
Everyone that I've ever talked to as far as horror fans are concerned really like it. And
that's good.
I just hadn't gotten around to it. So, I'm really glad I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. So let's go to the worst of, or like the low lights.
Oh, fuck, man.
I have 3 of these as well.
I have 4, but one of them is the Lazarus Effect. So I won't talk about that again. You can just listen to last week's episode.
All right, cool. So.
Okay. Starting off.
You started off last time.
So ABCs of Death.
Okay.
I started this last night before we switched to
Isn't this a Ty West movie too?
He might have one of the shorts.
Okay.
I mean, it's 20. So ABCs of Death is 26 really short stories. Each has a letter of the alphabet, and it has to do with a way of death.
Okay.
So like A is for apocalypse. I forget what B is for. I made it through D, and then I turned it off. So a D was for dogfight, and so I don't like that.
That's brutal.
Well, it was a guy fighting a dog, and the dog was vicious, but then you see like a dog get punched and stuff, and it was just too much. And, it was garbage. It was really terrible. Like I said, I only made it through letter D, before we switched to Insidious, I honestly love like the short story concept and anthology movies like that. So I was really looking forward to it. But, oh man, just very poorly made. There's like a little disclaimer at the beginning that each letter a director was given, they had complete creative control over what they made. And that was probably a mistake because a lot of the creative decisions that were made in the earlier movies that I saw or the earlier short films I saw were terrible.
Okay.
So I can't imagine it got much better.
Okay.
All
yeah, I have no.
Yeah.
This
bad.
In VHS, I really have no desire, and I feel like they're kind of the similar.
I liked VHS.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A little. Not enough to watch it often, but I enjoyed it.
The first one I wanted to talk about, and I've talked about it before, so I'll be real brief. Willow Creek, which is basically the Blair Witch Project with Bigfoot, but you don't actually get to see Bigfoot. And it's just, I don't know. There's some character stuff at the beginning of the movie that I really appreciated, and I kind of just wanted to watch that movie. And then once they got into the Bigfoot stuff, it may have just been the guy wasn't a very good actor. I just didn't buy that he was that big into Bigfoot. And I don't know. You never see Bigfoot. And then there's like this weird, like forest bride thing at the end. The ending was really weird. And they don't really, plant it very well. And I don't know. It's just really weird. And I'm not big into the Bigfoot mythology. So I didn't know that there was a forest bride thing. Like that's an actual thing that people believe that Bigfoot kidnaps and basically rapes women.
Yay.
Yeah. So it's weird. I mean, it has its moments where it's funny, which Bobcat wrote and directed it. So of course there's going to be some comedic moments. I don't know. It was so indie that you don't really get to see anything, and it's just kind of a bummer. And they basically rip off the tent scene from Blair Witch Project.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just kind of a bummer. I don't know if it was just because I expected so much because I am a Bobcat fan, but that seemed weird to say. Like I'm a fan of Bobcats, but anyways, yeah, it was a bummer.
Yeah, I almost watched it, and then you talked me out of it. So. This was something that I heard was good, so I was really disappointed that I hated it so much. Oculus.
Oh, I watched that as well.
Did you like it?
I didn't hate it. I did not like it.
I thought it was just way too out there. It wasn't scary. To me, it wasn't a horror movie, and that's how it's billed. But it's so intricate, and for like a movie like that.
Yeah.
With like the magic mirror, and then they're back in time, and you flip between.
Yeah. I actually didn't mind the stuff that you flip back and forth, but they didn't really, most times when they do stuff like that, directors will kind of give you a clue, and then it was just really, the cuts were really drastic. I didn't like that.
I wasn't paying close attention at the beginning. I must have been distracted by something, and it took me like probably 20 minutes to figure out that we were flipping between 2 points in time. Yeah. Because I didn't catch it the first few times. Yeah. And I really like Karen Gillan a lot, and she's in it. So that was good, but it was also pretty funny, like starting it up and seeing that it was a WWE movies film.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, oh shit, is John Cena going to come in or something? So I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea, and it was a big disappointment because I heard it was good.
Have you ever seen Identity?
Sounds familiar, but I don't think
it's a John Cusack movie. I actually watched it it wasn't for the first time. It was for the first time in a few years, this Shocktober. And it's kind of a similar concept where you're seeing things, but it's not really what's happening. And so that's kind of what Oculus does as well. And it's just kind of a better version of that concept. So if you want to watch a movie like that, I would just suggest watching Identity, because I didn't hate it as much as you did, but I wasn't crazy about it.
All right, cool.
So the last one that I guess it's the second one I'm going to talk about, is A Lonely Place to Die, which I kind of teased a little bit. It's actually a pretty good movie. Yeah. The reason it's a low light for me is the fact that I shouldn't have counted it. But the reason I did was I talked about the Shudder app. It was a staff pick on the Shudder app. And I was like, okay, sweet. And they give you a really quick synopsis on the app. And it basically said that, a girl, some hikers discovered this girl that had been buried alive. I was like, oh, sweet. There's some like supernatural or some, crazy reason. It reminded me a lot of The Descent if the monsters never came. Like it's much more of a man against nature type of movie where they're climbing and they're out in the forest and they kind of have to survive, and they're getting hunted by these two guys that kidnapped the girl and buried her for ransom money. Like, it's just a kidnap action movie, essentially.
Yeah.
Towards the end, there is a chase scene where they're going through this town, and it's during like this, Halloween-esque festival. I think it's based in Scotland, and the guy that's chasing them steals this like really creepy pig mask, and he's chasing them. So it reminded me a lot of like a slasher film. Yeah. So there was a little bit of horror in it, but for the most part, it's just an action adventure type of movie. But since it was on the Shudder app, I was like, okay, well, this is my Shocktober for today. And so I was just like, well, it's a horror app. And so I just counted it before I even watched it. And by the end of it, I was like, that wasn't really a horror movie. So it's not a bad movie. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be. And so that was kind of disappointing.
Yeah. That is disappointing whenever you think a movie's going to be something and it's not that at all. Which brings me to my last one. So the last of my worst is a movie called The Jug Face. And I don't even know if the is part of it. It might just be Jug Face.
I saw this on Netflix. I actually almost watched it.
Yeah, it was on, I Googled like best movies on Netflix for Halloween or whatever, and that was on a couple lists. So, it had an interesting premise. It's like this backwoods community, and they have there's like this creature that they worship, and it lives in this pit, and it sends like telepathic communication to this, special guy that's in the community. And he goes into a trance and he makes jugs. Like, so he's like he does pottery and he makes jugs and it has people's faces on it. And if your face is on it, you get sacrificed to this, creature. And so there's this girl and she finds a jug with her face on it and she buries it so nobody knows she's supposed to be sacrificed. And because she's not sacrificed, this creature basically starts picking off people in the community. It's really fucking dumb.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of layers to that movie, and they all sound pretty fucking stupid.
Not only that, it's it's like this community that's out in the woods and separated from everybody, and they're super redneck, super hillbilly. There's incest, like the girl's impregnated by her brother, and it's just, there's so much going on, and through it all, you never see the creature.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was really dumb, and I don't know. That guy must have been tripping on something when he wrote it because it was super fucking weird.
Yeah, that sounds stupid.
Yeah, don't watch it. It is not one of the best streaming movies on Netflix. I can assure you. So if you find a list that says it is, do not watch it. It is very bad.
All right. So the last one, and I'll be super quick about this because I just talked about it. What I'm into is Scout's Guide. Don't watch this fucking movie. It tries way too hard. It's fucking stupid and it's not funny. So that's my last one. I'm just be super quick about it because we're going kind of long.
Cool.
So let's go right into Nerd Favorite. I believe it's your week, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully because I didn't prepare anything.
Yeah. This would be really quick too. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but out of everything you watched this October, whether it's a first time or not, what was your favorite viewing of anything?
Okay, well, this is going to be kind of weird, but I'm going to go with Zombieverse.
Oh, really?
Have you seen this movie?
No.
I just watched it.
It's all over Netflix, and people say it's actually kind of fun.
I was watching it. Well, I had watched, I think it was one of those movies, I had already watched a couple that night, and I was just like, whatever. Like, I heard it was funny, and I think I was just in the right mindset to watch it. And it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's fucking stupid. It's really, really stupid.
Yeah.
But it's just really fun if you kind of shut your brain off and you just watch it and just have a good time. It's a lot of fun. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I probably will never watch it again just because I don't think I would like it as much, but I'll leave it as that one viewing. And there's kind of a cameo with Bill Burr and John Mayer. That's really funny at the beginning, and then they bring it back and they tie it in at the end. And it's just, I liked it a lot.
Cool. I'll have to watch that because I've seen it on a lot of people's lists.
Yeah.
My favorite viewing, is probably Rocky Horror, but just to keep things fresh, I want to tell a story real quick about a movie I watched with my wife. That was probably my favorite moment of Shocktober.
Okay.
So we watched a movie called Housebound. It's nothing special. I think it's a British movie, and it's basically, you think things are going on in this house while this girl's under house arrest. that are supernatural, and it turns out it's not supernatural. This guy is living in their walls. Sorry to spoil it. You don't find it out at the end. It's something that comes up in the middle of the movie. But the point is, so we're watching this and I'm in and out of consciousness. I'm super tired and I'm falling asleep during it, and the lights are off. And my wife wakes me up and asks if we can turn the lights on because of how scared she is.
Okay.
I can guarantee you this movie is not scary, and it's billed as a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And my poor wife is so freaked out about intruders that it freaked her out so bad that she needed to turn the lights on to watch it. And it is not scary at all. So I've been consistently giving her shit about it, and it's something that I will never let her live down. And
that's awesome.
It was a lot of fun. It was pretty funny to see her freak out like that over a movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. That's it, man.
All right. So this episode was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but I enjoyed it. So I hope that you guys did as well. I hope that you guys have an awesome Halloween. I am looking forward to scaring the shit out of little trick-or-treaters. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at The Nerds Podcast, like us on Facebook, follow us on Google+. Check out the new YouTube page where Tyler just did an unboxing like we talked about earlier, the new Marvel Collector Core box. I already said like us on Facebook. Oh, vote for us for Podcast of the Month at podcastland.com. Email us at thenerdsyou'relooking.for@gmail.com. Oh, rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Basically any good podcatcher you use, we're on it. Think that's about it?
Yeah.
All right. For Patrick Kuhn,
Tyler Hunt,
we are the nerds you're looking for. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys later.